I have so much to learn. Welcome back, everybody. Saturdays with Chickenduck, episode 131. Very special episode today.
Our first music guest.
Could you tell your?
I'm the first.
Yes, sir.
You're our first. Yeah.
That played music like in the Insider.
Yeah, you're the first professional that's ever. I mean, I've sang terrible like.
That's not what I meant.
And we've had Jimbo.
Yeah, Jimbo is a
sort of sing. And
no, I meant like someone coming in and play a song.
Yeah,
or something. All right, well, that's cool.
So, welcome.
Awesome.
It only took us 2.5 years, and you're the first.
Wow.
Yeah.
So,
100 and what show is
I've
this?
been begging you for 2.5 years.
Yeah.
Finally you show up.
I know. I finally checked my
This is
messages.
the show to end all shows.
Well, thank you.
Kris Kehr, welcome back to this. You've been on the show.
Mhm.
You just haven't.
Long time
we
ago.
haven't given you the platform with your guitar. So
That's true.
now that we have video and we know sort of what we're doing with the audio, we figured we're a little better place to bring you in and let you play around.
Well, right on.
So how are things?
Good. What am I supposed to? I'm talking to this
You
one.
can talk into all of them.
Really?
It doesn't matter.
People.
Cool. Yours sounds much better than ours for whatever. I mean,
This one?
it's probably more expensive.
It's a.
I have yours turned up about
Sure.
halfway, and the rest of them up much further.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I adjust the volume and everything.
Right on. Yeah.
Accordingly.
All right. Well, whatever works.
Clear,
I'm
as opposed to our old 2-year-old mics.
Yeah.
blazing a path here. Chickenduck.
Absolutely.
So tell me, I got to start by asking the fake fingernail-esque things. Are those picks?
Yeah. These are finger picks. Most notably used on banjo players use them when they're playing bluegrass music. And then guys like Mississippi John Prine use them a lot for that style of it's like a blues-based style of finger picking, folk and blues. Get volume out of them.
Just wear them.
Out.
Yeah, just in case.
I wear them
in case you have to like climb down a wall.
if I'm. That would be they're pulling the wrong
Get
direction.
into a fight with my cat.
I leave them on sometimes during the day. My dog doesn't like them.
I'm going to wear them to bed tonight, I think.
Protect yourself.
My cat has tried to kill me every night. Every night since we've had him.
That
And
new
I
one
brought
you
him
get-
home Mother's Day.
Yeah. What?
Yeah.
What? Okay.
He's an asshole.
Well, it's a
Sorry,
cat.
I don't mean to go off on a tangent.
No, it's okay.
I looked at them and I was thinking that's probably my easiest line of defense for my cat. So, but now I know where to find him. Sorry. So, where are you playing at these days? What's new in your musical life? I heard you're teaching.
Yeah, I got a
Talk
job
about all that.
teaching some students at a place called Rock School in Shoemakersville a couple nights a week, and that's way more incredible than I thought it was going to be. I mean, teaching, and I used to do a little bit out of my house, but that was kind of, I don't know, the problem, I think, when I was doing that. So it's nice having a place to go.
Sure.
And
What age group are we talking?
I've got
Anybody?
a 9-year-old harmonica student, a 60-year-old cigar box guitar student. I would say same for a bass player in his 60s. I have a 16-year-old ukulele and voice student, and that's what's really cool about it. I like the different.
So if it has scales and somebody's willing to play it, you're willing to help them try to. Like it's
Thing.
literal cigar.
It's a whole thing, dude. They have a festival in New York. There's a whole society, you can get information from. But it's basically, yeah, it's they took the cigar boxes and they have these kind of started out as with cheap neck on it, and it's 3 strings, tune G D G. That's like 3 strings. It's very simple, and I kind of rolled my eyes a little bit at it at first, and then you search it on there's guys that really are good at it, and they get this incredible tone out of it and play anything they want to with
Right.
it. So it's a lot way cooler than I thought. And then I mean, I play mandolin, and I play like a large mandolin, which is 4 strings, and kind of adapted that to be able to teach.
Mandolin is higher of a.
Yeah, but I have a baritone mandolin.
Barry Mando.
Barry Mando, that's the guy, yeah. And he's
Heard
about this big, and his body's like this, and it's tuned like lower. You know,
Yeah.
it's and it's more in the range of a guitar.
Nice. We'll have to have you back in for that. That's exciting.
So you teach pretty much anything that has strings on it, or and even a harmonica.
Yeah.
He
How
just
do
told
you-
you you could
yeah.
build your own.
Yeah. How do you? So you just learned because you know how to play guitar, like the cigar box thing.
More like
is it harder to
more of
learn?
mandolin. It's harder to get different tones out of it, you know, as opposed to everything sounding the same because it's the 3 strings, and you know, I mean, you can literally put up your finger on it and like an open tune thing and make a chord, but you know, it sounds kind of bland that way. And then there's actually chords, and we were working on Amazing Grace for a while. That was, you know, as you might, you know, it's like a lower register guitar, so it sounds nice and warm through a guitar amp, and playing at a decent volume, you know, it just sounds kind of, you know, spiritual, I guess. It's cool.
There's a guy. I'm not sure. My boss showed me the video on YouTube, but he plays a shovel.
Yeah, I seen that guy too.
Crazy.
AC/DC and stuff. Yeah. Well, that guy's
crazy.
he's actually a cigar box guy
I
too.
figured
He has
that.
videos.
He
Yeah,
said 3
I know
strings.
exactly.
I was
Got the
thinking,
long hair.
that sounds like the shovel
How
guy.
do you play a shovel?
They just took a shovel and put a bridge on it and tuning. You know,
Oh,
made,
so it's
made
like
it,
made
made
it
it
like
into
a
a cigar,
guitar.
like a cigar
Okay.
box guitar. It's a 3-stringer. Yeah.
What? Let me break the. I know
So,
nothing about.
well,
what I'm
you've
about
seen
to
this
tell
though. You know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about. Though. That guy's. Yeah.
But I know absolutely nothing about what I'm about to tell you. So it's literally a do-it-yourself guitar.
Okay.
You
Yeah.
get anything that can resonate sound, put a neck and 3 strings.
So is it like
on
a
and
snow
then you have
shovel?
a cigar-
Well, it was like a all right, like a yeah. So, yeah, there you go.
Oh, okay.
It's a shovel.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's got a shovel and an amp.
Yeah, that guy's
Can I play it?
that guy's
No, no,
that guy's
no,
that guy's
no.
good though. You know, he's one of the
Yeah.
he did some stuff that I actually like kind of got a little bit. His videos are less than instructional. They're more like just be entertained.
Show you
but
off,
but
yeah.
but there's a couple things I
Hey,
got
by
from
the
it.
way, I can play this fucking shovel.
Yeah, right. Exactly right. And it sounds great.
So,
That's funny.
so you're not teaching shovel. I just want to put the.
No,
but you
no,
wouldn't- you wouldn't
but
turn
my
it
student,
down.
no.
Right.
My student, I think, awesome guy, and he made his own, and he says he's working on one for me now.
Nice.
That's cool.
And does it sound pretty good?
Yeah, his was he wants to make a better one for himself. It was like his first attempt, but it's got a pickup in it, and it actually sounds half decent. It's, you know, it holds the tune. It's not hard to play. You know, it's.
Pretty cool. Yeah, I've seen them at festivals. Like I see
Yeah.
people selling them and stuff all the time. Like
Yeah, they're getting more popular, and like I said, York now is kind of like the hotbed of,
Really?
of shovel.
York, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, this festival. I know. I kind of want to go down and check it out if it's like a weekend thing. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
good.
I've definitely seen them.
Now they do sound really great with slide too. There's a slide next to it, my student's kind of like working on other styles. He wants to get into slide. That's adding another thing for sure. Putting a metal thing in your finger.
Now, you said you teach someone a harmonica. How do you go about teaching that?
I learned a little bit right away. There's I got a book off of Amazon with a CD in it, and here there's a whole tablature for harmonica. It's actually kind of simple. You look at a harmonica. On the top of it, there's numbers for each hole, and then so there'll be like if you're playing a tune, it'll be like 4 or 5, and there'll be pluses, and then 6 might be a minus. That means you pull. So it's like, you know, and that's how the tab for it. You just have to read it exact if you want to play like that. I never learned to play that way. I couldn't read. I just learned by ear.
It's crazy. I mean, he's great. He's awesome at it too. I mean,
Thanks.
and
I didn't realize you could read.
Well, I didn't really know
Harmonica.
that either, though. I kind of just learned that myself, you know, with the
That's
students. But
crazy to me.
it is. And honestly, my 9-year-old student can she acts like a 9-year-old, but she'll look at the the tab and I brought some different things in, and she'll just go, and she reads it and she plays it. And she'll mess up one note, like 14 notes in, and she'll roll her eyes and get all upset, and and then she'll start it over and she'll nail it. And I can't do that. I can't read tab like that. I'm more of an ear
Well, it's
guy
not
all the
just
way.
I mean, it's not just reading the music. She's also, I mean, that playing harmonica is not an easy. I'd imagine anybody can blow and suck on a harmonica.
Yeah, but no, you got to get
like,
the.
If you're trying to get those are small holes.
It's about curling your tongue in there.
That's nuts.
And my student was doing this for the longest time, just putting her thumbs on either side of the hole. She needed to just to learn. And
Sure.
I thought a harmonica was kind of like whatever you get, you get. Like every harmonica might as well be different. Like,
but then there's
John Popper's got one, and it sounds like that. Like, that's all I really knew.
He wails away on kind of like a normal harmonica, like the ones that I use. But there's like I play with guys. There's a guy here in Reading actually. He plays these chromatic harmonicas. There's 2 rows of notes on them, and they have every note on it. Like these are just like the scale of C or the scale of F, whatever key they are. But these chromatic ones, you can play anything on them, and they'll have a button on the top that bends a note, so they can. Like Stevie Wonder played one of those. If you ever remember some of his early hits when he's a little kid, and he was playing one of those giant chromatic harmonicas. You know, and they're amazing. You know, Willie Nelson's guy too. He's a fantastic
Mickey
Raphael.
number one harmonica player.
Whoa.
He plays all different kinds of styles, and he uses chromatic. He uses different kinds, but he uses chromatic.
His merch. This guy that he's talking about, Mickey Raphael. It says Mickey Raphael, number 1 harmonica player.
That's all you need to know.
I mean, if you need to get one of those, that's pretty awesome.
I always look for them. They never have them.
Does he have a website though?
He might.
Like,
I never looked into it.
I don't know.
Overall,
He's been doing it.
Was there a competition, or that's
his job?
That's his claim?
Yeah, he's
Number
played with
1.
so many different other guys besides Will. He's been with Willie since he was a kid,
Yeah.
and he's played on like we're talking about Billy Joe Shaver albums, like all kinds of country, and then of course Willie's reggae album.
Oh yeah.
I love his
So
harmonica
good.
playing on that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Very good.
Yeah.
So the last time we were here, we didn't really get into a lot about you. We had other guests that were. So you remember
Tell us about yourself, Chris.
last weekend? So you have a small child of your own.
I just wanted to make sure we sounded good yet.
Sound good? Yeah. So, how did you get into playing guitar and into music, and when did you start playing?
I was 11. I think I started taking lessons, and I was an only child, and I grew up outside of Shoemakersville. It's a little more houses around now, but my bicycle, my dog, and then guitar. And I just was locked in my room for most of my teenage years, or once I started driving. Then
Where'd you go to school?
Hamburg,
What year did you graduate?
82.
Uncle Larry? You know my Larry Adam, maybe?
But name's familiar.
He plays.
He's a
for a
guitar
bunch
player,
of-
right?
He's a.
Not my
Percussion.
grade, I don't think, but
No, he would have been around there. My dad graduated from Hamburg in, I guess, 78 or 77.
all right.
Fred. Adam.
Well, so he was actually there when I was in, because it was six grades when I was there, from 7th to 12th.
6th grade moved into
Sixth
school.
grade was still Perry Elementary. There's only 2 schools. There's no middle school, and then went to Hamburg in 7th grade through 12th.
Yeah, that's the way we were too. Now, because Andy's going into 7th grade, and he's still at the middle school. They don't move up into high school until 8th grade, I guess.
Yeah. But yeah, and I used to. I got in some bands. I remember my mom dropping me off at practice at Travellini's Garage, which is they're off of 4th Street. Which I don't think's there anymore, and that's when I had Live Wired, which was a AC/DC cover band. Played loud. It's awesome.
Was that like one of your first bands?
Yeah, I think it was the
Live
first
Wire?
one. Live Wire.
Still
yeah.
of hearing, kind of loud.
Well, actually, it's funny you say that, because I got to see AC/DC right when they came back with Back in Black with the new singer and at the Spectrum, and I went there and got up pretty close, and it was something. The volume.
Deafening.
It was, literally that, because 2 days later, the teacher made me go to the nurse, and they had to like check me because I was still ringing. It was like really hard for me to hear.
Yeah.
It was I was like 16, I think, for that.
Wow.
But it was that concert was amazing. But yeah, that was, I morphed into Southern rock. We had Lucifer Fox was my next band. We played at the Hamburg Fieldhouse Battle of the Bands.
Who came up with that name?
Well, I was a Batman fan, and was it Lucius Fox is his scientist guy? Wayne Corporation,
He's
and
the guy that makes all the gadgets. And
right,
stuff,
right. And it was just like, I don't know, some kind of stony morphing of that. I'm sure it was because of the Batman
That's
thing,
great.
So, still doing all cover songs and stuff with those? Or?
Yeah. But I was at home. I started doing acoustic. I had a somehow. I'm not sure how I did it, but I had a cassette, like 2 cassettes, and I used to. I had pulled wiring out of it, and I got it through another, like put one into the other, and was able to record tracks, like put down a guitar track, put down a lead track, put down a vocal. And my friend Randy Dieter, we used to record, started recording then, and I found those tapes recently and transferred them, and there was like 2 originals on there, and I kind of, I remember like that was probably the first stuff there.
That's cool.
It's fun.
Any good? Like, do you go back and think?
I thought it was better than I remembered that I thought it was going to be, and I remember I still have on my hard drive. I have to
Pretty
like
cool
kinda,
amount of effort overlaying your own. I mean, laying in your own.
yeah.
Your own tracks out of that you're recording one at a time.
I had a really big interest in recording multiple track stuff like that, because right when I got out of high school, I didn't go to college first. I went to Chillicothe to the recording workshop out there and learned studio through the summer into the fall. And then I started Bloomsburg College in winter of '83. Yeah. But that the studio, going to Ohio, I just had a deep need to learn about what studio stuff was. Sure. I still completely fascinated with it. I have it in my basement. I did it in my last record. I did almost all of it in my basement. The last 2.
Yeah.
I love
That's
it.
where I get all my work done too.
Yeah, it's a good place. Place to think. No.
Why? It's just for Sundays. It's not where I get any other work done.
Saturdays.
Sorry.
So those are, you went back and found those old original recordings.
Well, I have everything. I have boxes
The
and
basement
stuff.
tapes?
Well, my archives, the Wobby Cat Kitchen's archives.
Nice. So when did you start writing like those couple original songs? But when did you get into like an original band and start doing your own stuff instead of like the?
Well, I joined this bluegrass band in the Lehigh Valley, Pavlov's Dogs, and I had wrote a couple. I was like really trying to write bluegrass songs, and we did a couple of those. They were mediocre. But then right after that, I had moved to State College. It's right around age 30, and put the Stone Poets together, which started out with just playing with Bill Stetz and Todd Bartolo from Youngers from here in town, and he was a lap steel player, and I forget who the drummer seats changed a lot, but we started doing my original stuff with a couple of like Townes Van Zandt cover or Steve Earle or something like that, and going that direction, and then when the Stone Poets kind of happened with Dave Mudgett and James on organ and pedal steel outright, that was like alt country, late 90s alt country was huge, at that point. Ryan Adams and Steve Earle. And I was writing, and we did Long Year and the Second Poets, all that stuff was original stuff. That's when I started Wobby Cat, and kind of been just doing it less often now, but
Wobby Cat Records, right?
yeah, I just kind of some kind of icon to kind of draw, because there's different projects of mine, like Traveling Seeds. It's not really my name, but it's Wobby Cat. And just try to pull everything under a tent, I guess, kind of thing.
And that was up in State College where you
started there. Yeah.
Started there.
Yeah, then, I think we did a couple of live recipe albums, 2 of them, CDs off the merch table thing on Wobby Cat. And then I came back home, did Stone Poets Crossroads album, and then Telectro. Yeah.
Tell us about the recipe. You mentioned the recipe. You were
Oh, man.
You were in a national touring band, right?
Yeah,
Called
I'm
The
sorry, I'm
Recipe.
laughing at you because you don't know how the story ended. I don't think. Do
No,
you? Okay.
I guess not.
Wow. Yeah. Recipe was
His
something.
lawyer's going to call us.
No. The story,
Demonetized before we even get started.
the story goes to a very, very, very interesting place. Yeah, the recipe became my whole world for a couple of years, starting in 2002 and 3 and 4, ending in mid 5. A touring jamgrass band, had already had a bunch of songs on High Times Hot, their top 100, I think it is, they do or did, and had a huge following. And I joined this band. I think my first gig was playing a festival with I think Mo had played on the same stage. It was like a huge festival out in Pittsburgh. I was just hired to come out. They had just had their girl fiddler and girl singer, who's now my wife, quit 3 weeks before I joined the band. So I got a call.
Whose wife?
Mine, my current wife. This is setting the
Stuck that in
story
really quick there.
Well,
I want to make sure we caught all that.
It's important because it's I don't know, the whole thing with the recipe and talking about fate in life is a very wild story for me. It's
So you guys weren't dating at the time.
Oh hell no! She I didn't know her. She
left the band.
She quit the band.
You started the band.
No. I got a phone call to just kind of hired me to come play mandolin and be a lead player. They had lost this fiddler, and I guess they lost the bass player too. And because that's when I met Kris Kehr, who I worked with in Electro and stuff. He lives in North Carolina now, but he was joined to play bass in that band. He was from Massachusetts, and so did a bunch of gigs. Eventually, got asked to join them, but the caveat was that I had to move to Asheville, North Carolina. That's where they were moving from Morgantown, West Virginia, down. So I had to kind of break up the Stone Poets and leave State College. But it wasn't the hardest thing for me to do. It was hard. There was things going on in State College, best friend deaths, crazy relationship stuff. I kind of wanted to leave town. So anyway, I joined the recipe. We played, I think, close to 230 shows in a year, constantly on the road. We had a different singer end of that summer, just to end the story with my wife. By that point, Julie had guest sung 2 times through the summer out on different places, and I got to know her and like her, But at the end of the summer, our leader, the guy who writes the songs, the guy who started the band, and it was all his thing, Joe, fired the singer during the drum solo. He took us all aside while the drummers were on in Raleigh, North Carolina, and said, "Hey, you guys don't mind if I fire her right now?" Because I remember hearing, while we were playing, I looked over and heard her go, "Fuck you!" She had this really hard, Southern accent. "Fuck you!" And I just we raised our eyebrows.
During the show, he did this.
Yeah, and then there was maybe 2 songs later, and they go into a drum solo, like the Dead, kind of thing, and he goes, "Hey guys, come over. Guys, yeah, you mind if I fire her right now?" I was like, "No, fire her." So we just finished out the second set, and then we're done with the show, and I got off stage, whatever, and I remember walking out front, and first we had an RV at that point, and we had a road manager, Travis, and Joe said, "Hey, take her to the RV, put her in one of the rooms, get her away from us, get her, but take care of her, and then she left the next morning, we never saw her again." But that night, as that was going on, I walked outside, I was like, "Joe, call Julie." And he's like, "I'm on the phone." And he was calling her in Bethesda, I think, in Maryland. She was in college to be a school teacher. And, She quit that night and met us in South Carolina the next day, I guess, and finished the tour. And then I spent 2 years sitting in the seat behind her. We never dated while I was in the recipe. Right at the end, I was already on the way out. But yeah, that's
awesome. That's cool.
But the twist ending. Joe, who we could do a series of podcasts on, this guy. this guy, took me to places where I jammed with members of Fish and Grateful Dead, and got to know all these, see these bands playing these big stages, and called me his brother and everything. Wow, he's doing 20 to 30 years right now in West Virginia prison for he was teaching music and also giving blow and LSD to two 16-year-old. Well, at the time it was a 14, 15, and screwing them, and the one girl was like the daughter of the woman he was living with or something, and so he just like kind of got what he deserves. He kind of messed my life up for a while. I have a picture of him in his orange jumpsuit on there because it was like you get the feeds of the West Virginia news and stuff, and it was really just orange jumpsuit with the handcuffs was kind of satisfying.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, well. Don't give LSD and blow to 14-year-olds. You learn from that story.
Yeah. Actually, keep them away from guitar lessons in general.
Yeah.
Just as a professional, I would recommend that.
Damn.
Yeah, man.
So you're heading down to Morgantown for some guitar lessons, I assume.
No.
Actually, he was based out of Huntington, which is where the Mothman prophecy
Ooh,
thing was. That's where he was from, because I remember we went down to his parents' house a couple of times. Yeah, recipe. That was an interesting couple of years of my life. It ended with me being here and having beautiful daughter and owning a house for the first time in my life, and Julie then went back to finish school, and when we got up here, and now she's in the Reading School District close to 10 years now.
Wow.
Nice. Very cool.
So you were living down in Asheville, and then after all that broke up, you moved back up here to...
I stayed there for a little while. Julie came down, moved in with me for like the last 6 months, I think. And we moved back. There was some family stuff going on with my grandmother, my mom, and a bunch of reasons, actually. Just came back. I didn't intend on staying, to tell you the truth.
Here.
Yeah. And Julie got a good job then.
Nobody ever does, but...
So
it's fairly poetic, isn't it? pretty, yeah.
Tell us, I remember telling you about that I was in Black Mountain, North Carolina.
Yeah.
And you told me a funny story about Artimus Pyle there.
Oh, yeah.
Tell us that story.
Yeah.
Do you know who Artimus Pyle is?
I'd imagine
he's a drummer from
Skinner.
Leonard Skinner, but he's also, there's a backstory there because he's estranged from Leonard Skinner. He's kind of like keeps his own flag flying, and the recipe. When I was in the recipe, we used to play the wife of Ronnie Van Zant, whose first name escapes me at the moment, but she owned the Freebird Cafe in Jacksonville, Florida, and we played there maybe 3 or 4 times. A gorgeous club and really cool. And she would go on rants about Artemis, like while we were there, like talking about the history of the band. And she kept a lot of the Ronnie Van Zant version of everything, the record label and everything together. Artemis was always trying to knock on the door. They had like banned him, and I'm not quite sure what the story is. I know he has a new documentary out that I want to check out, but he he used to live in Black Mountain, and Julie was working at we weren't married yet, but she was working at this place called the Town Pump. This bar was like the best place. Yeah, it's a huge high ceiling, just all kinds of crap on the walls forever, and some of the legends of bluegrass and rockabilly and blues that have played there. It's like long time Southern kind of place you play on the way to somewhere else, and it's a dry town except for beer. And no liquor there; it's just beer. Yeah. So one night I was going there to pick up me and Q were after a gig. We went there to pick Julie up after work. It was like 3 a.m, and the owner Rick and Artemis were sitting there at the bar talking, and we were just kind of listening. And we weren't really doing much. And I was just waiting for her to get done. And he's telling the story about something. Artemis is really animated, and those guys were friends. They used to go to. I remember Rick used to say about going to Chuck E. Cheese, taking their kids to Chuck E. Cheese with our Artimus. And Artimus was a big freak, long, super long hair, big beard, leather, like cowboy hat and stuff, And he's telling the story, and he's all animated. And he has a session the next day, and drum session, and he just comes down and gives his hand a boxer break, breaks his bone in the back of his hand on the bar. Just right behind, like he's turned, he's right behind me, and he just starts freaking out, like freaking out, and he runs for the door, and my friend ran after him, went to the door looking at the street, and he's driving up the street in his old beat up truck with the door open. He's still yelling. He's not quite in the truck. My friend's yelling, waving his hands, going after him. It was super hilarious. I guess he healed, he was supposed to play up at Peck Aaron Amphitheater, and they canceled. And I'm not quite sure why. I didn't really kind of look into it.
Maybe he broke his hand.
Broke his fucking hand.
But he survived the plane crash, right?
Yes, he was on the plane crash. I know that the split in that band had something to do with that, but I'm not quite sure what it is.
Yeah.
It's funny.
I just remember texting Chris when I went on the road with that Citizens Band Radio.
Yeah.
That was one of the stops that they played at.
Oh.
Black Mountain, and I remember him telling me about that place.
Yeah, Black Mountain has it's where John Cale went to school and started avant-garde Black Mountain. I started avant-garde music stuff that was there. My wife also worked at a luncheon place there, and during the day it was like a quaint Southern place, and she used to serve lunch to Billy Graham's wife every day. Yeah,
every day.
Every day she came for lunch. Yeah.
Something, isn't it?
Well, it's a cool town.
Yeah,
small
cool.
mountains and
I always
beautiful.
They always want to go places. I said we should go back there. It's really
it's it's better than Asheville. It's right next to Asheville. It's just 10 miles. Or so.
Oh, it's that close.
Miles. Yeah,
really.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, that's cool.
Well, what'd you guys do? You came in and did a show there?
Yeah, they just did a show and
at
then,
Town Pump or one of the other
Town
ones? Because
Pump,
there's a couple places.
Yeah, it was at Town Pump, and then we didn't even stay the night. I think we just rolled out to the next. I don't even remember.
He was so fucking high. He doesn't remember anymore.
There's a lot of Adderall involved in that trip.
It has
A
to
lot
be
of
driving.
studying, for all your studying. Fucking ridiculous. I don't even see traveling the country
On the road.
Are they still together?
I think they just did a show, but no, they not broke up, but they're just not.
You were the
doing anything
glue.
anymore.
You were the glue that kept them together.
Staying on the road is very, very hard. Staying on the road, and you can't really stay on the road in the same place. You don't make enough money. You're trying to get somewhere else.
I guess
most
unless
of the time.
you're like an actual touring band and have money for
a
tour.
Yeah, I remember it was the spring of '04 when gas doubled. It was it made this huge jump and stayed there. And I remember that affecting a lot of guys couldn't afford to do it anymore.
Sure,
Just
traveling
that
around.
edge. Yeah. I know it killed us expenses, the recipe. We'd pile 8 people in a van with the trailer, and it'd kill us gas.
That's what you were doing in the good times.
What?
Piling 8 people in the trailer.
Piling 8 people in the trailer.
How'd you get around?
They had a 1965 Barta Bus that they converted into an RV.
Bus.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Did it have a bathroom?
Yeah, but nobody used it. You had to. Yeah, you weren't allowed to use it. Not allowed to use the restrooms on a lot of people's RVs.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just because where does it go? It stays there.
You got to dump it to somewhere. There you go.
Did you take a poll before we had the show this morning? I didn't.
Dave Matthews.
I did,
yeah, that's your buddy.
Yeah, dumping
Didn't
shit through a great offense or a great bridge.
On a bridge, right?
Yeah.
Chicago.
Yeah.
Right.
Whoops.
Yeah, whoops. He's a dick.
It was a bus driver.
Let's do it right here.
It's not like he was like, all right, let her pull it. This is the bridge. Go to the bridge. We're on the bridge. Talk about timing, though. I mean, somebody had to be under there.
That's a bus driver knowing there's
probably.
a spot. Yeah, it's more about
But still, somebody had to be under there.
Oh, I don't know. Isn't there water underneath it?
Yeah.
You mean to see it, to know that it happened, or what?
They got
landed
Somebody
on
could-
people. Oh, they got dumped on.
Yeah.
Oh, did it? Maybe there's a little boat
Shit went
underneath there.
through
Or
the
something?
bridge onto a boat.
Ah, that's a.
Well, that'll
That's an
dampen
onion.
your day.
It's an onion in the ointment.
Poopy. Let's talk real quick. I want to hear some music.
Yes.
I want to talk about that shirt.
The toad.
That's Mike Tyson's toad, right?
Yes.
Oh wow! I didn't even notice
I read a statement this week how much the Tyson Ranch spends a month on marijuana.
Yeah, and then Eben, Mike Tyson's podcast partner, clarified that on Twitter that it's not just Mike Tyson.
It's the whole
smoking.
ranch.
Yeah, and which he said is like between 30 to 40 people a day.
That's still $40,000 worth of fucking weed, dude. Is a tremendous amount of.
Well,
fucking
think
weed.
about how much. I mean, it's the best pot you can get in the country right now.
I know.
And it's not. I mean, it's not cheap weed.
Okay, so if there's 40,
I mean, they are growing it.
If
so.
there's 40 people there a day,
Have you done the numbers?
let me crunch them. 40 people a day, 30 days in a month. So we're at what?
I have no idea.
1,200. Right? Right?
Carry the 3, yeah.
1,200.
Okay.
I don't know where I'm going with that.
I don't either. I know. I agree with you. It's a shitload of pot. But if you ever watched Mike Tyson's podcast, in the hour and a half that they're on the air for, each one of the, like, Mike has a fucking giant blunt, the guest has a joint, Eben has a blunt. Yeah. They're all small. I mean, everybody in the office has.
So like, what's his name? Action Bronson did that same shit. Like they on his show. Did you ever watch that?
Yeah.
I mean, he's doing like 5 or 6 dabs at a time. They have a couple joints or a couple blunts getting passed around, and they're doing bong rips.
Action Bronson wasn't filming his show at the ranch where they're growing the marijuana that he's selling either.
No, and it was 3 or 4 years before all the relaxed laws, too.
Well, what's up with the shirt?
So,
the toad.
there's the Sonoran desert toad. It's 5-MeO-DMT, I believe it's called. Is the venom from this toad. People smoke it, and Mike Tyson, like every show, every episode of the podcast, every guest, he always asks them. He's like, "Have you heard about the toad?" And now they've done it so much now that he just says to Eben, his partner, he's like, "Tell him about the toad, Eben. Tell him about the toad." And they actually fast forward through the part of Eben talking about it, and they came out with like a cartoon that they made of Mike like talking about the toad and how he smoked the toad, and like he claims that he was completely like reborn. And he's a changed person, and like they wouldn't let him do it like back to back. He wanted to do it back to back, and he said it's only like a 15-minute ride. He said, but it's like it feels like you die and we're reborn.
I don't know that I can like trust his his sensitivity to stimuli is maybe a little different
for him because he's been slammed in the fucking head repeatedly for decades. You and I could last for a fucking day.
Meanwhile, we're like,
turn me inside out. Who the fuck knows?
A sanitarium for 20 years.
$34 a day per person in weed.
Say it again. I'm sorry. Say it again.
If there's 40 people there, a day for a month for 30 days.
Yeah.
So 40 people every single day smoke $35 worth of fucking marijuana.
That's nothing. That's less than a gram a person.
It's more. It's almost 2 grams a person.
$30.
$35. A gram's 20.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm thinking an eighth.
No, grams.
Yeah,
20.
gram. Okay, so a little more than an eighth a person. That's a joint. A little over a joint a person a day. That's fucking nothing. So they probably smoke.
Here's the fucking
They
thing,
probably
Case.
smoke $50,000 worth of weed
thing.
if that's the case.
There's probably not 40 fucking people there, and it probably doesn't happen every single day.
Right. They were fucking high as a kite talking on the podcast. Mike had another rapper on the show who spends like a crazy amount of money on shit.
The conversation
and he was
was
probably
hilarious.
just
Yeah, the conversation. Do we do 40,000?
Yeah.
What do you think? Do we
Yeah,
do
and then
40,000?
Evan said, "Yeah, we smoke 10 ton of weed a month." Like,
the ranch.
Wow.
The ranch smokes 10. Yeah, that was what got me. He's like, the ranch smokes 10 tons a week.
I think he was being a little. He was exaggerating a bit
That's
about
what
that.
$40,000 is.
10 tons of weed?
$4 grand a ton. $4 grand. That's a pound for $2,000, roughly. Quick.
I'm not good with the
Do
numbers.
math. Quick math. So you're gonna play some tunes, man.
Yeah, sure.
You got any? I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, tell us about, you have your own, you do your own radio show now, right, Kriss?
I actually just quit.
No,
You
no.
talk, well,
to be the in-house podcast musician.
I'm going
Duck.
to be more of a thing, doing a thing in my basement than going to the radio station. But I have for the last year and a half been doing one a month of live from Godfrey Daniels on WDIY NPR on Tuesday night in their folk slot. Well, I have a pretty decent archives going to, Godfrey Daniels is a music club in South Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. And I used to do a lot of sound volunteering there in the 90s and recorded everything that I mixed there. And I knew the other guys doing sound, so there's like a nice body of recordings. And so Dave Fry, the guy who founded it and who I play bass for in his band, has this radio show, and he does one a month. I do one a month, or had been doing one a month, and Dina Hall was doing two. And we just play new recordings, old recordings. Hey, I've been doing that, but I'm going to work on Tuesdays teaching, adding a night to my, rock school schedule. So I quit.
I'm gonna
do one more.
Shovel it, so he's gonna start training me on Tuesday.
Yeah,
Shovel.
two shoveled lessons.
Yeah.
Going back to the to the rock school teaching. So those, like, I remember I took guitar lessons like when I was like maybe. Go ahead.
Go! I'm waiting. How long ago was that?
Remember when I lived in the big pink house in Mount Penn?
No, that's before Jim.
No, it's not. You lived in that fucking house with me in the apartment.
Oh yeah. I thought you were talking about your childhood.
No, in that apartment. Remember when
lived
was
there.
that? So when was that?
I don't know.
Like 2002.
Those were the days that I don't remember. that was when my music teacher slipped me LSD.
Yeah.
So I took guitar lessons, and like I just realized I wasn't Jerry Garcia and just fucking gave up. You know what I mean? Like pretty much.
No, Mr.
So
Mr. Commitment.
I imagine that like
Can't win, don't try.
Kids coming to the rock school. Or like, do they seem to be more interested in it? Like they're actually like,
well, it's
because I wouldn't practice. You know what I mean? Like I would just go from lesson to lesson.
Can I field this one?
Sure, go for it.
You at 25 years old, what? Where were
there
you?
might have been cocaine involved.
Where were you taking lessons?
LSD.
Where were you taking lessons?
His name was Tom Sugar.
Okay, and how did you
I
go?
think
about...
it was. Oh, it was. Do you remember the music place on in Mount Penn there, down at the what was that the street at the weird intersection? Is that?
Oh,
you remember that? It was like an old German guy in there.
I don't know that I've been in there, but because that was like not my area where I lived.
None of this matters. Comparing a 9-year-old that wants to learn the harmonica to an idiot, druggy 25-year-old that's just about living in his fucking van. Not fair. Not fair.
To answer the question, varying levels of that, and I
you have any that are almost living in a van?
Well, there's been some that were way worse than that. I've had one that was way worse than that, and I immediately was like looking for ways to kind of get out of being. There's nothing worse than someone who's not interested in it. You start like wondering why they're doing it. There's for some other reason, and it's for like not to learn the harmonica or not to learn the guitar or not to whatever, but to be able to brag about it or be able to say that you're doing that, or maybe it's something in their own head that they're convincing themselves of. I don't know what it is, but it's frustrating as a teacher. But then there's like the 16-year-old I have who's ukulele and voice, and she already was a decent singer, and she already played the uke, but she wanted to do the two things together, and she works at it, and the cigar box guy and the bass guy for that matter, they come in and
you don't build a freaking cigar box guitar and then not want to learn how to
he is probably
that thing, but I don't really feel like going to lessons today.
He is probably the most into it student that I have. Anyway, he charts out stuff and brings me songs like I want to learn this, and awesome. He's way into it. Yeah, it's great. That makes it easy. That makes like the time.
Is he retired?
Yeah. Well, you know, I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure he's not. He's older, but I'm pretty sure he's a day job, but it's just him and his wife, and they have a fire pit outside or something, and his one kid plays, and I think it's that kind of deal. And he wanted to be able to play with some friends and stuff. Yeah, yeah, and it's kind of what he asked for in the beginning, and it's kind of our approach. He's a big Dylan fan too, which helps.
That's cool.
You know.
Yeah.
I think the first song I taught him was "You Ain't Going Nowhere." You know, it's a 3-chord thing.
Very cool. So you have hundreds of your own songs that you wrote. That was another question that I had. How do you go about? Do you write the lyrics first, or like how do you come up with the music in your head, or do you know how to write music?
It's usually around the melody where the music comes from. Sometimes it'll be there's a couple ways, and it's evolved over time. I'll find a cool guitar, you know, like a riff or something, you know, and just kind of like that classic way a lot of rock and roll was written and stuff, where you just kind of like have a guitar riff and kind of get it to where you like the where it's going, and then you try to like you hum, or you just try to find a melody that works within that chord structure. Get to that point, you know, and then you're feeling like, oh, this is about this, or you know, you try to figure out what it's about. Sometimes all the lyrics just come out, not often, and like some of the songs on the album, like 20 rewrites, you know, just keep working at it. That not work, and then something will fall into place, but then the third verse doesn't quite fit, and you rewrite that and stuff like that, you know.
So do you write the music, or is the music just in your head?
What?
Yeah. Oh, what do you mean?
You see music, like if you were to give, like if someone wanted to play your song.
Oh, you mean is it written down, like tabbed?
To read.
Like to read the.
That's not how I learn. Or
Sorry, sorry.
No, I
didn't
get
mean
it.
to jump on
No,
that.
you
Sometimes I got a little overly aggressive.
You clarified. It's
Yeah.
all good.
I thought he was asking if there was a difference between. Never mind. Just go ahead. I got a song. Just start strumming it out and singing it. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
What was the question again?
So, like if someone
Can you write your own music?
Oh, write it down. Well, I don't remember other people's songs that way. I didn't learn them that way. I could tab them easy, and I do that for the band, which is just basically like in a pattern, writing the chords and you know where they fall in time, and just like a little rectangle thing. That's easy. I do that all the time. But as far as like writing, notating it, I used to be able to do that stuff, and a little bit more now. And I'm watching some of my students going to go through it, or you look down, you know what that note is, but I can't look at something and play it like like written out,
right.
And I can't, and I don't. It would be difficult. I would probably hire somebody or find a program that did it if I needed to do that.
It's 2019.
Right. It's got to be an app for it.
Right. Yeah, that's acceptable.
But yeah,
Fiverr. Either do that. Just go to Fiverr and find somebody else.
Yeah, exactly.
$5.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. How you did that?
I remember things in patterns mostly.
What's happening down there? I just keep seeing it go back and forth.
Oh, this stuff.
So yeah, you have your own little.
Yeah, it's my my traveling instrument processor. It's a Joe Meek. It's the green thing is an English company's. It's like a compressor. There's a tube in there, and it just processes sound. It's great for vocal mics. I use it in the studio all the time. I have two of them actually. I have another one at home. And then this is a tuner, and this is the tuner. Watch it. Check this out. This is the tuner that I was at a Grateful Dead show in Ann Arbor, Michigan one time, and I saw Bob Weir, but he had his on this setting. That setting. It was tripping me out. Yeah, so I had to have one. It's actually the best tuner I've ever owned. It's really cool.
I mean, dumb question. Forgive my ignorance. But what exactly is it doing?
Well, if I need, it's doing nothing now. But if I need to,
you can change.
I can mute myself, and then I can just tune my strings, and it picks it up really lightly. I don't have to make a lot of sound with it. That's the good part about it. Go through it, then I can unmute it, so people don't have to hear me tuning. I hate that when I'm in a club and just listen to the guy tune.
Now I know. I've learned more on this show today.
That's a good one.
Well, I think I said that to Joel too. So I gotta watch. I can't say that too many times. And Joel knows where. Well, now they all know where I live. Oh man.
You want me to play?
Yes, sir.
All right.
You want to just double check your camera and make sure it's recording? Okay.
Oh, you had asked about different ways of songwriting, and this is a good way to illustrate this. I was going to do like these two songs together, a shorter one. The first one is a folk song, a traditional folk song that came along like 2/3 of the way through the process of writing this album, and I liked some of the things it was saying. The version I heard was Dylan actually, and it's been recorded, actually jazz versions of it and different versions of it. But I kind of like the chorus. I like the feeling of it, but I rewrote most of the verses to kind of fit my own thing and to fit with the other songs, complements those songs. That's like 900 Years. And then the second one I'll do with these two together is a song that I didn't write at all. Well, a little bit. I rewrote a few lines in it, but my friend Tom Flannery, he's a playwright and songwriter from Scranton area, wrote this and gave it to me to record. He said he had me and my wife in mind when he was writing it. So I rewrote some of the verses on that to kind of really sharpen how I felt about things. And I was doing this on the Channel 69 morning show, the song, last year. And the one weather guy asked if it was a Johnny Cash song, which Tom, that's an awesome compliment. But yeah, I'll do that one. First one's 900 Years. The second one is To Love You More. Here by the tracks with his weight across my back, and I'll sell you this guitar that I own if I can make my train on time. I'll be home by tomorrow night because I'm 900 miles from my home. Well, my woman, she says so. I will run these rails no more, and I'll sidetrack this engine by the road. But the train pulls out at 5, and I will be there right on time because I'm 900 miles from my home. Up and down here in the streets, shoes upon my feet, and them north winds have chilled me to the bone. And when I thought I seen your face, you just turned the other way, and now I'm 900 miles from my home. It's time to face the facts. Once it's gone, don't come back. And just move a little further down the road. What I can't believe is true. There's no one left like you. And I'm 900 miles from my home. Yes, I'm 900 900 miles from my home. I'm 900 miles from my home. I'll track down all that could have been, wrap it up so we can start again, and build it back up from the basement floor. Love you more. Just this much, just won't do. I know the other wanted you to, but I'm the guy here by kitchen door to love you more. Direct the sun like a searchlight, it makes you feel alright. It gets mighty cold down here at night, so put aside your stage fright. Yeah, put aside your stage right. If I could, and if you can, meet me where the ocean meets the land. 'Cause there's the cup I'll forever pour to love you more. I got no time for staying young, with all these words nailed to my tongue. That's the greatest cross I ever bore. Love you more. Direct the sun like a searchlight, it makes you feel alright. It's mighty cold down here at night. Put aside your stage fright. Put aside your stage fright. If I could, and if you can, meet me where the ocean meets the land. There's a cup I'll forever pour to love you more. Love you more. Love you more.
Tom Flannery.
Man.
Thanks, guys.
I'm amazed. I'm amazed that you're able to move your fingers.
Do you see why I asked about if you like write the music down? Because that's a lot, like not the words, but the music. I mean, it's a lot
know.
to.
I didn't even have. Actually, this is for another song. I wasn't. Those I have. Most of them I have.
To remember.
Yeah.
You know what I mean,
Lyrics are. I really know.
Freaking instruments and singing. I'm not questioning that.
Yeah, I have a
I
problem.
know.
I do have a problem with lyrics. So some people are way better than that, and it's definitely a weakness in my mind. You know,
You got a lot going on, Chris.
well, that's kind of what it is. But still, I hate to.
Dude, I have a hard enough time like brushing my teeth and that brushing my teeth.
Well,
Like any one thing could throw me off for the rest of the day. And I'm watching my fingers are numb right now just watching yours because I feel like I gave myself carpal tunnel.
I've been playing a lot lately. So like
blisters on your fingers.
The ends of my fingers are kind of, like you can see they're still dented in. I don't even feel that. It's just all thick skin there.
Yeah, see, I don't have that.
No,
I'm typing on a keyboard all day.
Yeah, it's a different
It doesn't
thing.
happen. I can type and talk to somebody at the same time, but I feel like a harmonica would probably be putting me over the limit. Yeah. I'll try it tomorrow. I'll try it.
Tell us about what's that on the
This?
end of the?
Yeah. I was gonna
Capo.
ask.
That's a capo. You slam it on there to raise the key. So say I know how to play a song in C, which is this chord. I'll play a C, but it's too low, but I want to play it in that way. So then I just have to put this on this in D, and it's the same chord. It just raises the chord up. And I do a lot of things in the 5th fret, and then I play it like a G chord. I have a bunch of songs like that, and that's a C actually.
Do you get that?
I mean,
No,
I like-
I don't fucking understand.
Well, okay,
it.
well let's try
It's
that.
okay.
I'll try
You
one other way.
explained it fine.
Okay.
I'm looking at him and I was hoping that he'd be like, "Yeah, I get it," and then I'd ask him like, "So explain it to me," because he doesn't have a fucking clue.
Well, let's just say there's a lot of fun things you can do when you're playing with this chord. It's a G chord normally, but because I have a capo that puts it in, and I'm playing it up here, it makes it a higher chord or a C chord. So it's just sometimes it's more fun to play things that way. If I don't know if you know, there's a really great guitarist, singer-songwriter Gillian Welsh, and her and her partner David Rawlings they played 2 acoustic guitars, and most of the time, they'll be playing the same song in the same key with 2 guitars, but like one will be playing like normal, and the other will have a capo playing it in a different way, and that really complements each other a lot better than just the 2 guitars playing it the same way. That's another big reason to use them. I like having them. When I do the 12 string, I do this thing where I use this is a mandolin capo. It's not as long. It has like the last string it doesn't cover, and I do this. I put it on the 2nd fret except for the bottom string. So that makes a D chord in E, and that's still an E, and this is a D chord, but it's an E now. So then you can play like a bunch of the stuff I do on the 12 string on the new album, Big Love and Way Past the Skyline are written that way. It has that droning bottom string. Fun with capos.
So both of those songs that you just played are on your new album.
Yeah, they are. Yes, they are. Traveling Seeds.
Tell us about that. We just had one of the musicians from that album on our show a couple of weeks ago.
Bill,
Sabal,
yeah, Bill.
Played bass on the album.
He played bass on a lot of it. Yeah, when we recorded the basic tracks in his basement too. Yeah, Bill came in. I was doing a lot of shows with Matt Cullen, local guy, a great drummer. We've been playing for a little while. He actually was the last drummer in the Stone Poets, the last lineup of the Stone Poets. So we were doing duo gigs, and Bill, I don't think he was playing a lot of music at the time, and asked to play bass, and he went out and actually bought a bass. And I think he's mostly a guitar player, and I thought he got like really good real fast. Like I liked what he was doing. I liked the approach, the energy, and everything, and that came across on the songs that we recorded. We didn't record everything in those sessions, and there were some things that kind of needed to be fixed. But just about everything he played on is included in that record. Is electric bass playing, and we had set up for like a month, had my recording equipment in his basement, drums mic'd, and I got all the drum and most of the bass tracks down there. Overdubbed all my stuff at home, but
Yeah, We'll Be Cat.
and we'll be Cat Kitchens.
So tell everybody where they can find you, where they can get your new album.
Yeah, my website, kriskehr.com. That's KRISKEHR. There's a link there, but right now it's on Bandcamp, and I'm going to go home after this and work more on work with this mastering program I have on my computer. Just about finished, like, wanted to get this kind of perfect thing to put up on iTunes and to press discs. So I want to have discs by September, and have it on iTunes and Pandora, get it, all that stuff. Because right now it's just Bandcamp. But you can download the whole album Bandcamp. kriskehr.bandcamp or the other way around or something.
Yeah, it sounds awesome, man.
Thank you.
I listened to it quite a few times already.
Thanks.
Very good.
Thanks. Thank you. Yeah, I'm happy with what I can get away with in my basement.
Yeah.
for sure.
Me too. I'm happy. Well, I'm happy what we can get away with in Jim's basement.
Yeah, basements they're all right.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
It's not bad at all. So I got nothing, man.
I don't either.
The
But
shirt was all I had. I was really excited to see Kriss, and
You know what? Do we have a couple more minutes?
I was hoping to
I like
play.
okay, I want to play something else, but I also want to. I just thought of something while we were. I was just kind of finishing that and talking about doing yourself recording. And I keep getting we recently Seeds played a record release party for the album up in State College at Zeno's, and I hadn't played there in maybe 6 or 7 years, and you know, when I lived up there, we recorded Long Year. It was I had gone into the studio with the first version of Stone Poets, and we started recording that album. And in the studio was this guy Tom Edmonds, T-Bone. He was Lenny Kravitz's house sound guy, and he had mixed, I think, the first 2 Lenny albums, and you know, he was friends with the guy who had the studio, and he I think he was off for a while or something, and he was looking for projects to kind of do, and so he took interest in us and helped me learn about recording. We did the whole album, then he hated it and scrapped it and wanted to do it at his house, so he got this rolling equipment that I eventually bought the same kinds of stuff for, and I keep in my basement, this older digital equipment. And he showed me how to use it, and you know, he's the guy that took me to actual Big Pink. You know, he was when he was 16 years old, he ran away from Lancaster, hitchhiked to Woodstock, New York, and got a job as Levon Helms, one of his yard people. Like, you know, when he was 16, and then wormed his way into
Big Pink.
Well, no, that was he wasn't living. He wasn't living there at that time. It was, and this is later,
like in the 80s or what?
well,
For the people that don't know what Big Pink,
yeah.
what's
Well, Big Pink was an infamous house, iconic house. It's on the
you.
cover of the first band album, The Band. Robbie Robertson, guitarist, who has a new synthesizer album out this week. But yeah, they you know, they were one of the original Woodstock bands, and you know, many awesome hits, and made a whole bunch of great records. But yeah, T-Bone lived up there. He got to be an engineer at Brownsville Studio there in Woodstock, and worked with Todd Rundgren for many years. And like, he had taken me to a Lenny Kravitz sound check one time at the Roseland in New York. It was like a closed thing. I went in there, and you know, just like people that he knows, you know, that he knew. He died recently of cancer. Actually, he died last year, but he had produced my first record. And, you know, so I was up doing the show in State College last week, and some people were like, you know, I've been listening to Long Year again. Now, I think my voice sucks on that album. I really kind of hate my singing. But T-Bone had put the guitarist for the band on there, Jim Weeder. He put 2 Lenny Kravitz's guys on my album, George and the guitarist. It'll come back to me. Cindy Cashdollar from Asleep at the Wheel plays on that, and her husband. So like, he got these guest players, and he put this gorgeous sounding record together, and kind of set a standard for me that I feel like I always needed to live up to when I put something out. And certainly, like, really had him on my mind while I was working on this one. He died, you know, kind of in the middle of it. So, you know, yeah, I just wanted, you know, hey, T-Bone, boy, right on. You know, he was awesome. He was scary and motherfucker, and really awesome. Awesome guy. I learned so much from him.
Was he there when you smashed the guy with the guitar?
No, I told
we
you the
tell that
story.
story?
Yeah, well, that's a different thing. But I lived in State College.
Kris has some good stories.
It was like a resurgence of a rock band, this band called Jawbone. It was kind of an offshoot of Stone Poets, and we played in Lewis Town, which is that was the heroin capital of Pennsylvania at the time. And
Yeah.
what's that?
That's like the manufacturer is.
Oh, but yeah. So there was
the
this.
only experience that I have. I don't go there for heroin.
Yeah, well, we went there to get this gig at this like big rock hall kind of place, you know, and there was a lot of alcohol, and this girl that was with me at the time was just such a toxin, and she got just majorly drunk. I remember we were doing an AC/DC song, and I had this. You ever see the movie Used Cars with Jack Warden? Okay, one of my favorites. And the one guy who sells, they have to hide the fact that it's a red car because he's a superstition about red cars. Okay, so I had a similar thing with guitars, and I had a red Les Paul, and it sounded so good I couldn't sell it, but everything in me told me I should. And so we're playing at the end. I remember we were finished, but then doing an encore. We're doing an AC/DC song. I forget which one it was, and the girl was just falling over drunk, and there's this asshole comes in and is like behind her and just being crude, and and I think I yelled at him during the song, and he's like flipping me off, and so we finished, and he got all got in my face, and he's pushing me, and I still have my guitar in my hand, but I was holding it like this, and he's like getting in my face, and I just took it and I hit him, and it came across right there, bent this tuning peg up, and there was a chunk of skin hanging on there, and the blood just started gushing down his face, and his friends grabbed him by the shoulders and yanked him and pulled him out of the place. And I felt really bad. I was like, man, I used to. I didn't even think about it. I just had it in my hand. I wanted to punch him, but it wasn't. I didn't really want to hit him with a guitar.
Take a chunk of skin out of his orbital. You'll be good.
Well. So then they drag him out and throw him out, and then we're sitting there. All my guys were like kneeling down on the stage, wrapping everything up, and it was like I remember this in slow motion. Jack the drummer and JK the bass player on either side, and we were Kriss, and we looked up, and this guy had gotten back in and had a bottle in his hand and came at me. And he was right going to swing it. The bass player grabbed the bottle, and Jack had got him low, and they took him down, and two guys, bouncers, jumped on top of the guy and took him out of there. But remember, there was a moment where he was he tore my shirt off, because remember at the end that I had no shirt on, and my bloody bent red Les Paul, which I sold immediately after that.
With the chunk of skin still intact.
I took that off and shined a little bit, and bent the tuner, and
made a fucking necklace out of
it. Yeah, it was rock. I think I was one of the last rock and roll gigs too, because it was one of those things where I felt like, God, I'm playing this AC/DC music. It usually works people out so much, man.
I tried to bite my tongue off.
It's too much.
Oh my god.
Well, hey, speaking of State College and everything, I'll do Vernovo. This version is really spooky on the record, and I'll do a fingerpick version of it. It was I'm not sure where this song came from, except that I used to drive through there all the time on the way from State College to my dad's cabin. And I used to go up there by myself and write, and I'd drive in the middle of the night. Renovo's used to be a big lumber town, the lumber boom of Pennsylvania, and like a river town. And then it died, and what's going on there now is kind of wonder sometimes. It's real small, and there's a train yard, all rusty trains, and there was. It's been years actually since I've been through. But anyway, I daydream about characters there, and I kind of know some guys like that, and so this was kind of like a daydream kind of story song about a couple. The day was sunny, an October sky, and things got funny and started to slide. Well, I'm gonna make it, it's much I know. Back to Renovo, back to Renovo. I took a stroll, tried to clear my head. That's when that old mockingbird got fed. Well, I got an itch, it's kinda low. Back in Renovo, back in Renovo. Running hard, keeping low. Leaving town before the snow. That can't be true. So what I heard, small town talk, and big time words, well, just couldn't take it. I had to leave. That's what I'm hoping they all believe. I got better, they're all low. Back in Renovo, back in Renovo. She grabbed the money, playing to win. He said, see ya, honey, at the cross fork inn. That's not as far as I would go. Back in Renovo, back in Renovo. Down through town, a hot summer day. Windows down, radio playing. Riverside, sun sang low in my head. I'm going home, and I ain't done dreaming. Breaking free of a long road out ahead of me. I still see your face, and it's all alone. Back in Renovo. Back in Renovo, back in Renovo. Spooky. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Thanks.
So, one more question. You changed the because that's on your new album also. So when you play solo instead of like with a band, you change the arrangement to
That actually, what I just did there, I was gonna do. The band has been playing it like this. Last couple times we were touring with, we did a couple shows with this fiddler Jeff Weiser, who's more of a bluegrass player, and I was kind of inspired to do like that. The day was sunny, and that's fun. It was a fun version to do of it. What I just did there was actually that guitar part's on the version on the album. There's just a fingerpick part. I overdubbed a bunch of different. I think there's a strum part, there's a fingerpick part, and a slide. And that was kind of that fingerpick part. I think that's my favorite part of it actually. It's good as a spooky tune, like a quieter spooky tune.
yeah.
Slide,
One
fiddle
of my
sounded good
favorites
on
on
it.
the new album.
Thanks.
Very good.
Thank you. Yeah, it's an odd song. I don't know how the people of Renovo, might feel
I'll
about
form
it.
them.
Well, it's a beautiful place up there. And actually, my dad goes up to a hunting camp, kind of up that way. It's a past Lock even, coming that direction. It's beautiful country up there. It's just gorgeous.
Yeah, I'll be sure to put the links of all your sites and stuff
Thanks,
on our
Casey.
pages.
Thanks.
And
Yeah, thanks for having me on, too.
yeah, man.
Yeah, you're welcome
Thanks
back
for
anytime
coming.
you want to come
Thank
by,
you.
man.
Thank you very much.
Anytime you got some new stuff or anytime you want to play some old stuff for us.
Right on.
That was nice.
There's a lot there.
Very informative
I just
episode.
I'd like to talk about the acoustics of my basement. It didn't sound too bad.
Yeah, well, I didn't need headphones or anything. Actually, it's not ringing down here. It sounds good.
See, that's all the acoustic engineering that I.
All the glass behind us.
So.
It's evil looking over your shoulder.
Oh yeah. No mention of the.
Well, I had to bring it up. Yeah,
I mean,
I just did.
That's it. That's all you get. No mention of the evolution.
You like this? The evolution sticker? We're starting a revolution here. An evolution.
I've noticed this growing obsession with Evel
It's not
Knievel.
growing. It's like
Because
full
ever
on.
since the I mean over time. Because I noticed it when you texted me about a picture that I posted of my Christmas when I was a kid, and
Yeah,
there was
yeah.
a
I was
Evel
like, is
Knievel
that
van in it, and
I saw it, and Chris had just opened it for Christmas, like in 1973, brand new. I'm like, do you still have that?
Oh, hey, I'd love to repaint that for
I saw
you.
my Batmobile, but which is awesome. But I don't.
I got a shelf and some saran
Don't
wrap
worry, I've spent thousands of dollars on all of them.
You have like a room.
on frames alone. Jesus Christ.
Spend your hard-earned dollars however you wish.
Yeah, Evel Knievel stickers and toys.
Cades.
I remember the Snake River thing. I remember being on TV and I was like, I remember that point. I kind of like didn't believe in him anyway. I'm not quite sure why. He's always like crashing and breaking every bone in his body.
Yeah, we actually had well, it was a call in, but the guy, it's not up. The guy who built that rocket, the original engineer, we had his son on.
Oh yeah,
and he actually rebuilt the rocket exactly the same way as the dad. And see, the original one, the parachute mechanism failed as soon as it took off. That's why the parachute came out immediately and he didn't make it over. So he wanted.
That's what happened.
He wanted. A lot of people say that he pulled the parachute that quick because he
I just remember as a kid, like it didn't work.
You need to come for all of your Evel Knievel information.
Obviously.
Anyway, we had Scott Truex on. His dad built the original rocket. He wanted to. He did it.
That's cool. That's cool to have somebody like that on.
He did it with another stuntman, Eddie Braun. He did the jump over the canyon. They did it in 2016. There's going to be a movie coming out, hopefully soon. But yeah, he just wanted to prove that it would have worked, you know.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool.
Pretty cool.
Pretty cool.
Well, so where does this come from? This sticker, and can I get one?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
the Evel Knievel Museum, just online.
Right on.
I think it's on Shopify or something. My Shopify, Evel Knievel.
I'm a big sticker fan.
Yeah, me too.
Dark
if you
Cases.
can,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not my table.
every week
It's nice to have a place to put them.
Yeah,
My top
exactly.
of my record, my vinyl, turntable has this big plastic thing. I put like real choice ones on that. They're covering it in my.
Well, yeah, I
mandolin
had
cases.
like some really nice stickers that I put on a laptop that I had in the past, but the laptop is obsolete anymore, and I don't use it. And I'm like, I just look at I'm like, oh, those.
Just rip the
I wish
top
I
of
had
it
the-
off. and
Wish
we'll
I had those stickers.
Yeah.
get a $20 frame, and we'll frame the whole top of the laptop.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Once the podcast is over,
Whoa. Whoa. What?
It's a big jump. What are you saying?
15, 20, 30 years from now,
okay. Sure.
this will all be filled. We'll need a new table, and then we'll be able to hang this on the wall.
Dude, you only started this like a couple weeks ago.
I know.
It would be
In
a good.
30 years, this whole fucking room would be covered.
It
by
would be a
fucking
good
stickers.
back behind you, but you gotta you're putting them on circularly. So remember, you're gonna have like a bunch of them that are upside down.
Upside down, yeah.
Yeah. There's really no thought.
I gotta make more Whoopie Cat stickers. I had a run of those in State College, and I remember seeing them like everywhere up there.
Oh, yeah?
It's really
That's
cool.
cool.
They were nice ones. And I used the last one on my record player, yeah, on the top of that.
Very cool, man. Appreciate you coming on.
Thank you. Yeah, it was good.
Is that it?
Anything else?
No. I had some stuff I forgot. Nothing really.
I have
important.
other stuff too, but this was
2 hours. So I.
yeah. I gotta.
Oh, you got
for
it.
your
Now you have
grandmother.
to.
Well, I gotta pick your.
It's good to have stuff. It's good to leave some, have some stuff
Wow.
Yeah.
He's always got stuff to
to
write.
exhaust everything.
You have to get my grandmother though. It's 2:00.
Yeah.
You're gonna be late.
Yeah, I gotta go home and hang with the kid too. Anyway,
How's everything going with that? Starting school soon?
she starts school really soon. She finds out her teacher night next week in Schuylkill Valley, and
What-
so we'll see.
How?
She starts first grade.
Oh,
She's starting. She just
so my
yeah.
cousin. Well, Ben's going to first grade.
Yeah, I think they're actually in the. I think they're in the same school. I
Schuylkill
believe.
Valley.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is there more than one elementary school at Schuylkill Valley?
No.
Well, then I can,
There's a bunch of different classes, but I think there's 6
They're
classes.
definitely in the same school.
They might not be in the same room, but they might be too.
He had Tara last year, right?
Mhm.
So she's a kindergarten teacher.
Mhm.
Curious. All right. Well, thanks again for coming, buddy.
Yeah, man.
We'll be in touch. You can come back and play some more music for us.
I would love to.
And I'll put all the links on the site on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe. Patreon.com.
And join us next week.
Chickenduck. Sorry. Chickenduckpod.com.
So
You gotta do my
rude.
plugs, man.
Well, I got to tell them that Mike Buschetti and Jim Sharkey are calling next week. So Mike Buschetti and Jim Sharkey are calling next week. Join us for that. And Toby? Is Toby
next week. What's the date next week? I think Aaron is coming next week.
Aaron.
No, Toby's coming next week.
Aaron.
Are we still in August
we
next week?
I don't even know. Are
Yeah.
we on
Yeah,
Chicken Duck time or real time? Because I
Real
don't-
time.
Yeah, we're still in
it's
August.
Toby next week.
Okay, so Toby's coming next week. My Toby,
Not Vu's Toby.
not Vu's Toby. So, all right, it's been emotional.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Yeah.